Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Everyone, welcome to the show. So 23-year-old North Carolina resident Grayson Sherrill traveled to D.C. with his friends and co-defendants. That was Elliot Bishai and Elias Irizarry. You guys might recall Bishai and Irizarry were students at a military academy at the time, but they met Sherrill online and they didn't know him as well. So as they approached the Capitol, they found metal poles that other members of the mob had broken off of bike racks that the police were using as barricades. So Sherrill and Irizarry each picked up one of the rods, and then they carried those to the Capitol. Sherrill was seen and heard on video on the Capitol grounds screaming, "Stop the steal." And as the officers from the Metropolitan Police Department tried to make their way through the crowd, they were trying to give backup to the Capitol Police. They were surrounded by a group of people and they were assaulted by this mob. So Trump's terrorists start screaming at them. They started calling them oath breakers. They were cursing at them. And then it turned violent. The mob began pushing. They started shoving them. They tried to steal their batons and their weapons. And then they started throwing items at these police officers. So the terrorists started pushing against the officers and hitting them with various items. And then when Officer Daniel Hodges became temporarily separated from the police line, one of these terrorists purposely slammed into him and started wrestling with him. Well, that's when Sherrill struck Officer Hodges with a metal pole that he was carrying. And Officer Hodges said he suffered from headaches for weeks following the Capitol attack. Although he said, I can't really attribute my injury to any specific person because he sustained a lot of blows to his head and to his body on January 6th. As you guys probably likely know, Hodges was the officer who was trapped. He was crushed between a door frame and then a riot shield in the Lower West Terrace tunnel. And as his arms were pinned by his side in that tunnel, he was completely defenseless. And one of Trump's other terrorists pulled off his gas mask, stole his baton, and then beat him in the head with it. So sometime after this attack on Hodges by Sherrill and the others, Sherrill made his way inside the Capitol. He entered just 6 minutes after the very first breach of the building. And Sherrill used his metal pole to bang on an office door. He was seen on video doing that. And after taking part in overwhelming the officers in the Capitol crypt, Sherrill headed upstairs. He headed towards Nancy Pelosi's office, and he was chanting her name along with the mob. And a while later, he met up with his co-defendants again. They were in the rotunda. So he spent a total of 34 minutes in the building, and then he and his friends exited. They remained on the Capitol grounds for about another hour and a half, though, and they were photographed sitting on top of government vehicles in front of the Capitol. And according to his co-defendants, Sherrill was bragging on the way home about hitting an officer. So Sherrill was arrested on March 1st of 2021, and in a superseding indictment, he was charged with civil disorder, assaulting officers with a deadly or dangerous weapon, entering a restricted building or grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct in a restricted building or grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, physical violence on Capitol grounds, disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, and parading or demonstrating in a Capitol. In February of 2023, Sherrill pleaded guilty to assaulting officers, but the prosecutor allowed him to drop that dangerous weapon enhancement. So he was facing up to 8 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. But the prosecutor requested 41 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Sherrill has no criminal history, and at the sentencing hearing, he told the judge, quote, "I really want to say that I recognize what I did was wrong. I've had 2 years to really think about it. At the time, I let the chaos control what I did." Apparently, Sherrill sent a letter to Officer Hodges. Also, he apologized for his actions. And Sherrill told the judge, quote, "I'm very thankful that he wasn't hurt. I completely misunderstood the situation. I saw him wrestling with another man. I now know that the other man was in the wrong. I helped the man instead. I immediately regretted that." Not buying it because, he was bragging about it on the way home, as I mentioned, but okay. So, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan presided over Sherrill's case, and she told him that he was, end quote, extensive participant on January 6th. And then the judge told Sherrill, quote, there's a lot of rhetoric around about patriots. The only true patriots that day were the law enforcement officers working to keep the mob from hurting members of Congress and their staffs, just trying to stay alive, slipping in their own blood. In the end, Judge Chutkan sentenced Sherrill to 7 months in federal prison, 1 year of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Anyway, guys, if I hear any more, I will let you know. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.